Hey everybody, Naomi Kyle here with day 2 of IGN's 2011 live show. Throughout today, you're going to see some great game demos like Rage, Skyrim, and Bioshock Infinite. But before we get to that, how about a little Spidey action? Greg is here with Activision to show off Spider-Man Edge of Time.
Thank you, Naomi. You know, last year, Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions came out, and I wasn't sold on it. It had 4 Spider-Man, no open world, and no Peter Parker, and that game was awesome. Kevin is here right now to show me Spider-Man Edge of Time. Kevin, give me a handshake. There you go. Bring me up to speed. Who is this Spider-Man?
Well,
No, that's a dumb question. What's happening in Spider-Man Edge of Time?
Spider-Man Edge of Time is the story of 2 Spider-Mans communicating and working together across the void of time and space to stop a catastrophic event, which is the death of the Amazing Spider-Man.
The Death of the Amazing Spider-Man. The game starts with him dying.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my goodness. All right, so now the question for a lot of people, I'm sure, who played Shattered Dimensions. This isn't Shattered Dimensions 2.
No, it's an
Okay.
all-new story by Beanox. It's building off the success of Shattered Dimensions, but it's a brand new story written by Peter David. We brought him in. He's the co-creator of Spider-Man 2099. All new combat, all new moves, all new villains.
We're seeing some of it here. What is this? This is Amazing Spider-Man's new power, right?
Yeah, so Amazing Spider-Man's combat system is a lot more fluid. It's very acrobatic, it's very elegant, lots of ranged web attacks, but he also has a new move called the Hypersense, which is basically him tapping into his spider sense for short periods of time where he can almost become invincible. He's auto-dodging attacks, he's getting out of the way of obstacles, and it's really just tapping into one of those powers that only Spider-Man has.
Now, obviously, you know, the story's a big part of it, but gameplay is also important. How are you differentiating between Spider-Man, or Amazing Spider-Man and 2099?
Well, the worlds are completely different. So the visual style of the present day and 2099 is completely different. And also, you're going to see different villains in each of those timelines.
And Anti-Venom here.
And this is Anti-Venom.
And
yeah.
now you're thumbing your nose at Canon. Anti-Venom, he's a good guy. What are you doing?
No, this is not thumbing nose at Canon at all. Anti-Venom is being forced against his will to destroy Spider-Man.
By who? Who would do such a thing?
Walker Sloan,
Okay.
evil scientist, rival scientist of Miguel O'Hara in the 2099 universe. He's actually the guy who sets this whole thing in motion, creates a time gateway that travels back in the past, recreates the Alchemax Corporation years and years before it was supposed to start, and then controls Anti-Venom to take out and kill Spider-Man, because Anti-Venom has the power to heal people rather than cause harm. So because Spider-Man is pretty much infected by radioactivity, if he heals Spider-Man, he can actually take Spider-Man's powers away from him.
Great. So now, when Sloan comes back in time, is his goal to stop Spider-Man or to make Alchemax?
A little of both.
Okay.
So, you know, he's rebuilding Alchemax in his image to become the premier scientific superpower in the world. And also, Spider-Man's in his way. Spider-Man's trying to stop, you know, sort of the dastardly deeds that are going on at Alchemax.
Of course. So now, you know, Beanox making this game right after Shattered Dimensions. Have you guys, I mean, is there a conscious effort to try to not make it Shattered Dimensions 2, to try to do something completely different? Or are you kind of saying, you know, this really worked, let's keep it and do it more?
Well, the idea for the game actually came out during the production of Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. So the idea was, well, it wouldn't be great if they could talk across time. So we picked 2 characters that were actually could be on the same time continuum. So that way, you know, you're working with time rather than alternate dimensions.
Gotcha. How are they able to do that? Spider-Man traditionally doesn't have psychic time traveling powers.
There's a deep sci-fi Peter David answer to this, but the short answer is a chrono-link program using Peter Parker's DNA sample.
Okay. So now what's happening here? We have 2099 getting hurt.
Right. This is one of our cause and effect gameplay moments that are sort of tied to the narrative. Your actions as one Spider-Man, so here in the present, can immediately affect the future because the 2 timelines are linked together at an exact point by these time gateways that Walker Sloan's created. So you see the immediate effect of your actions, and this is told via picture-in-picture. So you can see as what's going on in the story is that this giant Anti-Venom caused this explosion, giant fireball, and is destroying these atomic regulators. But in the future, you see the aftermath of that. They're spewing out radioactive gas, killing Spider-Man 2099. So Amazing has to race ahead of the fireball and get all of these regulators out of the way to safety to stop it from happening.
So it's not Doc Brown time travel where the picture slowly fades away. This is happening right away.
No, you see it right away.
Okay,
you see the stakes, and you see the aftermath of all of your actions.
One of the things I loved so much about Shattered Dimensions was how awesome the boss battles were, and like how every level was themed around one boss. How are you guys doing that here in Edge of Time?
Well, Shattered was all your bosses, right? You got tons of variety. This one is a really crafted sci-fi story. So each villain in here makes perfect sense for our story. So Anti-Venom is sort of the catalyst, potentially killing Spider-Man. This was sort of in the vision that Miguel had in the beginning of the game. But all the other villains, there's some new creations, some wholly original ones, some from the comic that we haven't seen before. We've got a lot of cameos, references to Marvel characters and Spider-Man characters as well.
You have to, it's Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I'm assuming you have alternate costumes. You haven't announced anything?
We haven't announced anything yet, but
okay.
it's a safe assumption.
All right, good. Oh, what about voice work? I mean, that was another great part of Shattered Dimensions. You brought 4 Spider-Men from across the timeline. Everybody knew who's doing the voices here.
Christopher Daniel Barnes, who was from the '90s Fox show, is doing
the leather jacket, the blue jeans, the hair,
the angsty. Yep, he's 2099.
Yeah.
2099 is a little bit gruffer than Peter. And we brought back Josh Keaton to do Amazing Spider-Man,
cool.
The younger kind of glib
Oh,
Spidey.
the people know him from what's the
Spectacular Spider-Man.
Spectacular. Thank you so much. Here's 2099, your first chance to see him in action. How does he fight compared to Amazing Spider-Man?
All right, so he's a little bit quicker. He's got talons on his fingers, so he's got a lot of claw attacks. So a lot of close quarters brute force combat.
Gotcha.
He's also got this movement you can see right now. It's called an accelerated decoy. Spider-Man 2099 doesn't have spider sense like Amazing Spider-Man. He has what's called accelerated vision. It allows him to see faster than everything in the universe. So the way he sees it is almost like time slowing down. So when you drop this decoy, you're actually kind of putting yourself in 2 places at once because the enemies are seeing you slower, so you can use this as a strategic element to draw the AI towards you while you can attack from the side. And this move is fully upgradable, and you can also use it for offensive purposes as well as defensive.
We see the picture-in-picture here. Does it still work? Does it work similar? Obviously, for Amazing, it makes sense. If I punch a wall out, it's not going to be there for 2099. But it doesn't really go backwards.
No, but what you saw here was the world changing around Spider-Man 2099. So he has a more reactive kind of approach to his world. Doors are appearing, disappearing, enemies come out of nowhere, and you have to constantly change up your technique.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounded like you had the rest of a sentence. You're tricking me, but you keep me on my toes, and that's what I like about you.
Thank you.
Talk to me a little bit about Beanox as a studio. For years leading up to Shattered Dimensions, we had some hit and miss Spider-Man games, not that great stuff. You guys came out with Shattered Dimensions, turned non-believers like me into total Beanox backers. What kind of pressure is there now to go then forward? And Activision already have said, that you guys are the Spider-Man guys. You like what you do.
Yeah. I think there's a good deal of pressure to keep making quality games, but they're bringing it all to the table. They didn't slow down. They had this idea for this game right away, really were enthusiastic about it, and got it greenlit right away. So, they know they're Spider-Man. It's a studio full of Spider-Man fans, and they're really hardcore. So this is going to be, a pretty hardcore comic-based Spidey game.
How varied are the levels? That was another thing about Shattered Dimensions, right, is that each level was based around that Spider-Man. So you had these really awesome Ultimate ones that were like poppy and pulpy, and then you had, the more, regular old Amazing 2099. How are you balancing that? Now that you have 2 distinct worlds, pretty much.
Right. What's cool about this is it's a really tight narrative, and it's really deep, and we want you to be propelled through the story, almost like an action movie, like a constant action movie. So there are no levels.
Okay.
You actually just continuously play, and at key moments in the story, during those picture-in-picture moments or some other times, you'll see a transition happen right away. The picture-in-picture starts, you're playing one, you see what's going on in the other, and then there's the transition between the two, and you immediately play the other.
Kevin, it's 2011, so if I didn't ask this, I'd be a fool, and I'm sure some people at home are wondering. Any kind of multiplayer?
No multiplayer.
That's
Single-player action only.
Well, personally, I love single-player games, so I totally back that decision, especially in a Spider-Man game that is so story-focused, right? Like, I love Peter David. Peter David's a great comic book writer. So to have him come in and do a story, I'm hoping that does Spidey justice is awesome. Yeah,
Spidey's one of those, singular heroes. He doesn't do a lot of team-ups. Lately, he has been in the comics, but traditionally, he's a loner, so it makes sense to keep the single-player games.
Well, here we get a nice cutscene, huh?
Yeah, this is the lead into the Anti-Venom boss fight. So you're going to get introduced to Walker Sloan, get a little bit more of what's going on with Anti-Venom being controlled.
Now, for people who don't know Anti-Venom, he's still Eddie Brock, right?
He's still Eddie Brock,
okay,
yeah.
Okay.
He's been, Eddie Brock was stripped of the Venom symbiote that was put onto Matt Gargan. and then he developed cancer, and then he was cured. And when he was cured, he actually got the benefit. Symbiote had healing powers rather than destructive powers.
Okay. Now, oh, there he is. That's Walker Sloan, huh?
Yep.
Interesting. How did he figure out how to time travel? Or is that just in 2099 everybody knows?
You know, he was studying temporal physics. He's the time guy in the year 2099.
Okay. Well, I guess I can deal with that. And he's a bad guy.
He's a bad guy.
We don't like him.
He's a very bad guy, yes.
All right. Why does he hate Spider-Man so much?
Spider-Man's just foiling his plans, basically.
Oh, man. Now,
Spider-Man foils everyone's plans.
well, that's what he's got to do. He's the hero.
Yeah.
He's got to save the day. So now, what is happening to Anti-Venom here?
Okay, so Walker Sloan's activated the master control chips that are causing his more bestial side to come out. So Anti-Venom also is a shapeshifter.
Oh, okay.
So he is in giant form. So you see his attacks are giant fists and things, and you can use the symbiote to kind of stick you up. So Spidey's going to have to kind of use all of his abilities against Anti-Venom. But as the course of this fight goes, it's a multi-phase boss fight. You're just going to see a little tease of it, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
When Anti-Venom gets his hands on you or starts inflicting damage, you actually start being healed. So you're losing your powers. So you have to take a different approach with the combat and your fighting styles.
Oh, my God. Is this what's happening? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, dear Lord. Get out of there, Spider-Man. He's going to suck your powers. Oh, my God. So now, our boss fights then working like Shattered Dimensions, where it was you engage for, like classic, you engage for a while, and then the boss guy runs away.
Some of them are straight up a single, some are crossover, so, it's all over the place.
Oh.
This is the end
That's
of
it? That's all you can show me?
gameplay. At this time, yeah.
Oh, my God, Kevin. All right, give me a handshake there, buddy. When does Spider-Man: The Edge of Time come out?
Comes out this fall, PS3, 360, Wii, 3DS, and NDS.
Oh, my gosh.
The
No
first
Game
Spidey-
Gear, huh? Jeez.
But it's
You're
the first-
covering all the other platforms. You gotta do.
First Spidey game on 3DS, we're really excited about that.
How are you guys, making use of the 3DS? Are you talking about that? Street Pass? Anything like those lines?
It's just a great 3D Spidey experience with and using the dual screens to kind of play around a little bit better with the picture-in-picture.
No.
I won't say better, but a different approach.
Yeah. I think
using
you're
the
allowed
two
to say
screens
that
for-
probably a 3DS doesn't look as good as a 360. In the same vein, in the same.
What's great about the 360 and the Wii skis is that they are the exact same content. It's Beanox was able to get the entire game onto both systems.
Great. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kevin from Activision. This has been Spider-Man: The Edge of Time. Don't go away, though. We have a whole lot more. Naomi, tell them all about it.
Thanks, guys. Nothing like a time-traveling Spider-Man to start the day off right. And speaking of time travel, if you miss any live show segments, be sure to catch them on e3.ign.com. Next up, we're going to take a vacation with a bunch of zombies. Dead Island is next.